Welcome back. We could see as many as 20, forget that, perhaps 30 people seeking the Democratic presidential nomination in what is likely to be a very crowded Democratic field. So crowded that the Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors joke is already getting old pretty quickly. One person who has made his intentions clear, though, is Julian Castro. Castro was a three-term mayor of San Antonio, HUD secretary under President Obama, and he was considered and vetted as a possible running mate for Hillary Clinton in 2016. This year, Julian Castro is looking to be at the top of the ticket. And he joins me now from San Antonio. Julian Castro, welcome to Meet the Press. Welcome back to Meet the Press.
Great to be with you, Chuck.
Let me just start with something that Senator Durbin said at the end of our interview today. I asked him if he thought the president was fit for office, and he said he thought that the country could make it through another 2 years. What is your view on that?
Well, I can tell you one thing. He's not behaving like he's fit for office. He's behaving extremely erratically. He's not giving the American people or our allies around the world any sense that there's a rationale for the decisions that he's making. And the events of this last week were just another example of that, whether it's a sudden announcement of a withdrawal in Syria or the turmoil with his staff. He's just so erratic. And so I think that what you're seeing around the country is that people who voted for him have begun to reassess him. And folks understand that we need different leadership. And the sooner we get that, the better.
I'm just curious on policy. Would you have troops in Syria right now if you were president?
Well, I think that many folks recognize that it was time for us to pull out of Syria. However, here's the thing. Once you're there, you have to make sure that you have a plan for your operations there and also for your withdrawal. So I'm not a big fan of the commitments America has made over these last 15 years, whether it was the Iraq War or this commitment. However, I do believe, and I agree with folks that say, that both for our own sake, for the sake of our troops, for the sake of our allies, once you're there, you have to actually have a solid plan for how you're going to withdraw. And what we saw this week is not the way that it should be done by a president.
You know, when somebody decides to run for president, it's not just about whether you think you're ready to be president, but you have to make a case of why you and not them. This year, there's a lot of thems that you have to get through before you have an opportunity to face President Trump. Why you and not the other 30 odd people running for president? What makes you the answer for the Democrats in 2020?
Well, first of all, I have an announcement on January 12th. So if I decide to run, Chuck, the reason that I'm going to decide to run are three things. Number one, that I have a strong vision for our country's future. Secondly, that I've shown both at the local level and the national level an ability to actually get things done, especially to create opportunity for people. And third, I've lived a life experience of coming from a neighborhood and a family where we were struggling, and I can identify with those folks that are struggling to reach their dreams. And I've actually reached my dreams. And I can identify with all of those folks out there who feel like they've had success and they've reached their American dream. And I know that when you're president, you have to work with Congress and you have to work with folks in states and local governments and the private sector as well to make sure that everybody can prosper in this country.
You know, in an era before Donald Trump, your resume would have been seen as not long enough yet to run for president. Maybe not enough foreign policy experience. That might have been something. Obviously, you already have more, I think, political experience than President Trump. But answer that question. You're going to be running against a lot of people with a lot more experience. And some voters may say, you know what? We went with somebody really inexperienced in Donald Trump. I want somebody with a longer resume. What would you say to that voter?
Well, first of all, I think you got to start earlier than that, right? We need somebody right now that is president that has some common sense and has some impulse control, right? So it's a lot more basic with this president right now than that. But I'd say that, I've had the opportunity during the last few years to travel to nearly every state in the country. In my life, I've visited different foreign countries. I've taken the job of whether it was HUD secretary or mayor of San Antonio seriously, tried to make sure that I could work with folks that have different views from me, And what the American people want right now, I think, they want somebody who, number one, they believe that they can trust, that has integrity. Secondly, is trying to unite Americans and not to divide them. And then somebody that they think is going to actually take this office seriously and try and work with folks to make sure that everybody can prosper in the United States. And the thing is that right now, each of those things is missing in this president.
You know, there's a bunch of Texas Democrats that wish you and your fellow Texan that's thinking about running for president, Beto O'Rourke, wouldn't run for president. Here's what Christopher Hooks writes in the Texas Observer. Dear Beto and Julian, one thing the 2018 election results made clear is that Texans have a real chance to make this a purple state. Good Democratic candidates can win. There's work to be done here, and it's important work. Run for president, and the message is that you're not especially interested in that work. And just maybe, Texans shouldn't be that interested in you. Why not run statewide in Texas? John Cornyn's Senate seat. You could have run in 2018 for governor. What do you make of that wish by some Texas Democrats that yourself and Beto would stay in state?
Well, I'm sure there are going to be great candidates that will run not only against John Cornyn, but in 2022 for governor and other statewide offices. And so, you know, that's not what I'm focused on. What I'm focused on is that I have a strong vision for our country's future. And on January 12th, I'm going to make an announcement about my plans.
Room for both you and Beto O'Rourke in this race?
Oh, I have no doubt, as you said, you know, that there are going to be a whole bunch of folks that are running this time. And so, you know, he's a very talented, very impressive guy. My brother Joaquin and I were proud to support him when he ran against Ted Cruz. And I think that, you know, there are probably going to be 20 people up on that first debate stage.
Fair enough. Secretary Julian Castro, former mayor of San Antonio, and on January 12th, we'll find out for sure if you're an active candidate for president. Thanks for coming on and sharing your views, sir. And
thanks a lot.
I hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.